Court, and Freeman of the Borough, Lieutenant Colonel Nick Jenkins representing the rifle. Welcome. And now I would introduce Mr. Peter Scott, who will vote for the mayor, Councillor Rhys Evans. But we declare, I think that's carried, and so we declare that Councillor Rhys Evans has been elected mayor, and invite her to come up to take her office.
Of arriving on a Wednesday afternoon, only to find that the centre was closed and the next bus was a good hour away. It's a beautiful, vibrant and thriving area, one that we can be truly proud of, and as such it gives me an enormous sense of personal pride to be elected mayor. This opportunity to note our recent success in winning the Magna International Development, which will see nearly 300 new jobs created for our residents. I'm sure you'll join me in congratulating all of those who've been involved in this. I am, of course, looking forward to attending and supporting to experience involved in developing these back in 2011, and I'm delighted to see that they've withstood the test of time. I know that there are members in this chamber who have never heard me speak before, choosing as I do only to do so when I can materially add to a debate. Therefore, on the issue of the Mayor's charity, I do want to take this opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Throughout the year, I will focus on the issue of domestic abuse. It is my intention to use the Office of Mayor to promote a better understanding of this subject, one for which I've already taken a very public stand, having recently been re-awarded the status of White Ribbon Town. Domestic abuse is no respecter of nationality, class or age. It is not confined to any one group of people. It takes place behind closed doors and is so not seen and often not recognised or discussed. Its impact is far-reaching, affecting not only the lives of the abused and the abuser, but also those of their extended family and friends, and often having a lasting and detrimental effect on the children involved. Nationally, figures are shocking. The National Office of Statistics reported in 2015 that 2 women are killed every week in England and Wales by their current or former partner. 62% of children in households where domestic violence is happening are also directly harmed. Domestic violence in the UK is estimated to cost victims, services and the state a total of around £23 billion a year. My charity activities will not only include fundraising, but will also include raising awareness by supporting the work of our multi-agency teams and the organisations that support the victims of domestic abuse. You will see that I've chosen not to nominate a consort during my term in office. I've taken this decision in order to recognise those individuals who have been brave enough to start lives again on their own. So lecture over. It's a brave speaker who stands between an audience and their food. But I would like to take this opportunity to do an early promotion of my charity launch, which will take place in the Town Park on Saturday the 16th of July, along with the Carnival of Giants. And I look forward to meeting you as I attend the many throughout. We know Councillor Reynolds.
As long as they recognise you, especially congratulate you.
Lady Mayor. Oh, that sounded really nice. Sorry. I'd like to support my colleague and fellow ward member, Councillor Charles Smith. Charles has got a wealth of experience. He's been a member of this council, well, a member of councils continuously for over 20 years. He's served in many capacities. He's been our speaker for the last 12 months. He's been in cabinet, deputy leader. He's got a wealth knowledge and experience.
Is there a second?
Yes, Madam Mayor. First of all, congratulations on your appointment. I'm sure you'll do an excellent job, and I've heard you speak in committee. I'd like to second the nomination for Councillor Ian Fletcher. As many of you know, he knows the Constitution inside out. He's chaired many committees, and I think he would conduct the business in an unbiased and very fair way.
Given that there are 2 nominations, I'm assuming there isn't a third. I'm instructed that we take the first nomination to vote first. So those in favour of Charles Smith as Speaker, please show. Abstentions? Abstentions? Thank you. Can I move now to the nomination for Councillor Fletcher? Those in favour? Those against? Abstentions? Okay. So the vote for Councillor Smith has been carried. Charles, you are now Speaker. Do I need to move? Oh, we'll put him in there. He's that there, doesn't he?
It's dead easy. just stay, you'll see. Thank you, members. My paper said I was supposed to make a short address from the top table, but I don't think we need to say too much except thank you for having the confidence in me to be the Speaker again. I will do my best again to be impartial. They said partial there. I thought Eric was up half asleep and he picked his ears up. So I'll do my best to be impartial and apply the Constitution, as I know Ian Fletcher would have done. Ian and myself are probably in this room who know we do work together with members of something we did late last year, I think it was November time, where we passed a resolution to respect each other, and I would expect that to continue for the coming 12 months. We say things which people don't always like, the bride but in a car. Now, I do think we need to respect each other and know we have different views. And with that,
one of the most experienced members
the agenda
of this council. What he knows, he is more than capable and competent in terms of conducting meetings, as he has proved when he's had to take the deputising role. So it gives me great pleasure to propose Councillor Rob Sloan.
Is there a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Turley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to wholeheartedly support the nomination of Councillor Rob Sloan as Deputy Speaker, and I don't think I can add any words. It's already been said. Thank you.
Are there any further nominations? Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I also give my congratulations to the incoming Mayor? Yeah, I think somebody referred earlier to some new blood, some younger people coming through. I'd like to propose Councillor Mark Boylan. He'd certainly be able to suck it to him if he was up there, that's for sure. He's a very go-ahead young man, and I'm sure he'd do an excellent job if he had to stand in for the Speaker, so I'm proposing Mark Boylan. Thank you.
Is there a seconder for that nomination?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to formally second Mr. Mark Boylan. As a Deputy Speaker.
Boylan, please show. Deputy Mayor. Councillor
Thank you,
Rose.
Speaker. I would like to nominate Stephen Reynolds for Deputy Mayor. I have worked closely with Steve in the past 5 years in Oaken Gates and Ketleybank Town Council, and since 2015 for the Borough Ward of Oaken Gates and Ketleybank. Steve gets involved in community events. He works well with residents and does his best to deal with all the local issues. He is respected in the area. He has been mayor 3 times. He's a great team person and he works closely with all the partners. So that's why I'm confident that he will be a great support for the new mayor, which I congratulate Ray on. So propose Stephen Reynolds.
Is there a second of that? Richard?
I'd like to formally second Stephen Reynolds as Deputy Mayor. Stephen has been a good friend of mine long before he was a councillor. He is a warm, approachable people person and is truly made for this role. Stephen has been Mayor of Oaken Gates, as Hilda has said, for a number of years, and so he's already had some training. He also chairs the Friend of the Con, and I'm really fond that we've got that group up and running. And I know Stephen will do this role to the best of his ability. I formally second.
Are there any other nominations?
Firstly, I'd like to extend my congratulations as well to our newly appointed Mayor. I'd like to formally propose Councillor Joy Francis as the Deputy Mayor. As we know, the role of a Deputy Mayor is an important element of our Council's governance structure and acts as an ambassador for our Council alongside and in the absence of our Mayor. The Deputy Mayor has a duty and privilege to support local initiatives that aim to benefit the local community, speaking and acting in multiple capacities as an ambassador, facilitator, promoter and encourager. Therefore, I feel this role really requires an individual that is versatile, passionate and operates with the utmost integrity. Having delivered in the capacity of Deputy Mayor in 2010, my esteemed colleague, Councillor Francis, I believe exhibits the sensibility many attempts, acting with genuine compassion in her efforts to support the local community and charitable organisations. I have personally had the privilege of working alongside Councillor Francis and witnessed firsthand her devotion, benevolence and compassion towards many members of the local community. Therefore, I hope you will join me this evening, casting our political motivations aside, and elect Councillor Joy Francis as our Deputy Mayor, as I believe she possesses the credibility and qualities required to ensure that our residents and a vibrant, impassioned community receive the advocacy and recognition they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second of that nomination?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I was going to write a nice speech from seconding, but my colleague has already said everything. I don't think I need to really go any further. And apart from the fact, as Councillor Lowry said, she was a Deputy Mayor in 2010, which is the time that I was Mayor, and she was a very helpful, hard-working Deputy Mayor, and I'm sure that she would fulfil the role with absolute perspicacity.
Councillor Reynolds, please show. Those in favour of Councillor Joy Francis, please show. Okay. Councillor Reynolds as the majority. Congratulations, Steve.
Mayor and Mayoress. They've done an excellent job. Congratulations to you both, and I so move the vote for second the vote.
Thank you. Councillor Dugmore?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to say a big thank you and well done to Leon and Barbara. Leon was really well during his term of office, and he has that rare quality which I so admire. Conducted in that reverence and diligence throughout his time of office, ably supported by Barbara, and I'm sure they're both looking forward to a well-deserved rest. So thank you and well done again.
Councillor Tomlinson?
Yes, I'd like to thank both Leon and Barbara for their efforts. In fact, that little team of themselves, they're absolute model ambassadors, have been before and have been again for Telford and Wrekin, and thank you very much for being that. Thank you.
Councillor Eric Carter?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gives me pleasure, having known Councillor Leon for a few years now and his wife, what a fantastic ambassador he's been for this town. Animosity never comes out of his mouth. We do not get politics chucked at us. He just does a fantastic job irrespective of who he's speaking to. And can I say, his support for the Shrewsbury and Newport Canal Trust has been fantastic, of that wonderful body. And also, could I say welcome back to the Fire Authority. I'm sure you'll be very, very welcome there, having done a great job in the past. So thanks for your efforts, both of you, and you've done a wonderful job. Thank you.
Councillor Tim Nelson to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be very brief indeed. Congratulations on your reappointment, sir, and congratulations to our lady. May I just pick up on two points. Councillor Stone mentioned that the Princess Royal was in the borough only recently at the Dairy Crest opening of their new research centre. I was present there in my role as mayor. And Councillor Dugmore has mentioned the diligence of Councillor Murray, and I can attest that the Princess Royal recognised this, because her words to Councillor Murray were, "I've seen you before, lots of times." And that says something about the Princess Royal in the borough and very much about Councillor Murray. I just add my personal thanks to Lynn and Barbara. They've been very kind indeed to my partner, Lynn, myself, during our year as mayor, and we really appreciate that. Councillor Murray is not a prideful man. I think he would regard pride as a sin, but I think we members should be proud of the role that Councillor Murray has conducted himself, and that, most of the point, the residents of Telford and Wrekin should be. Thank you.
Councillor Veronica Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to congratulate the incoming mayor on her position, and I hope you have a wonderful year and that you enjoy every moment. I'd like to say thank you and a great tribute to both Leon and Barbara. We really did enjoy your launch and that wonderful meal that we had with you. We've also met you at various places around the borough. The last was at St George's Church on St George's Day, where you came once again to celebrate St George's Day with us. It was wonderful to see you there and to enjoy your company again once more. I know the inordinate amount of time you spend through the year, how much time and effort it takes to do the job, and you always have a wonderful smile. Both of you have wonderful smiles and welcoming to everybody you meet. So thank you very much indeed, and I wish you well for the future. Thank you.
Councillor Clare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I say, on various occasions in my cabinet role, I've attended various functions, and who's been there? Leon and Barbara. It doesn't in Tempera. It's all that makes sure that the shirt's ironed, the tie's right, the timing's right, whether Barbara's done it or not. It's always been right. And can I say, Ray, welcome. I don't think your other half will be ironing your shirts, but you're very welcome, and it's nice to see a lady in the chair. Thank you.
If there's no more contributions, can I just say that my note says 3 speakers. We've had 6 or 7. I think that is a testimony to the good work that Leon and Barbara has stood behind him firmly. I've seen her twisting his arm and telling him what to do. And I think that's a test to the work he's done and the esteem which he's held within the council. Can I say thank you to Leon? And can I ask, can we agree the vote of thanks?
Yep.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. I now call upon Leon to reply to the vote of thanks. Follow that, Leon. I know, yeah, you can do that.
Where should I start? I sat there and I wonder what they're talking about. It has been an honour and a privilege to serve as the Mayor of the Borough of Telford and Wrekin. It has been an opportunity to have a rare insight into all that's happening in our borough, especially to see the work of the many voluntary organisations and people out there. This borough would not function at all without the amount of people out there who give their time volunteer. And I want to say a big thanks to them. And not only that, there are things happening in this borough that we don't normally see and hear about. Has anybody ever heard of the Lightning Industrial Association? Well, I've never heard about them until 6 weeks ago. And there I went to Hope, me and Barbara, a £5 million who help out so many times is and that's the phrase they use, go for it, Dad, and they've been a great supporter. And as well as my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in Manchester, they come over quite regular to support my fundraising event, and a big thanks go to them. We have a great legions of friends in Telford and Wrekin who have supported us in so many different ways. And many of them are here tonight, and thanks to you all for your support throughout our 12 months. And I'd like to say thanks to Paige, who took over from him at Price and have done a wonderful job to looking after the mayor and us unruly councillors. Well done, Paige. Last year, I chose 3 charities for my charity, and those are MS, the Samaritan, and Wellington Cottage Care. And I'd like to thank all those who support my fundraising event. During the year, we have had concert, coffee morning, curry night, as well as international night. And this has brought together councillors from all parties, as well as many friends and members of the public. I would like also to thank other mayors and mayors from across the borough, as well as the rest of Shropshire, Staffordshire. They have come and support us during the year when we tried to raise money. And you'd like to know that in the 12 months, we've raised £12,500. And this will be presented to the representative of that charity tonight. And now I would ask representative from MS, Telford Samaritan, and Wellington Cottage Care to come forward to receive their check.
Told you, Leon, she needs to be there to remind you.
And would Paige just finish by saying thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for your wonderful support, and we shall have an holiday next week to have a rest. And thank you very much.
Can I ask the new mayor, lady mayor, to make some presentations? Thank you, Ray. We'll now move on then to item 9, the election of the leader. Can I have a proposal for the leader of the council?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to propose Sean Davis as leader of the council. And if I could, I'd like to say a few words in support of this proposal. For me, I believe it's imperative that the next leader very much displays the qualities of our retiring leader, Councillor Sahota, who is a man of great compassion, fairness and transparency, and also strength of character. And I know that the man I'm proposing embodies these values as outstandingly as well as Culdip does. Our next leader will have to have all their effort, determination, and use all the tools at the disposal of the office of leader to ensure this council is in the best place it can be to overcome the hefty challenges we face. The next leader must always ensure we fight to preserve our services at the Princess Royal Hospital. They must be someone who is dedicated to the fight to ensure that Telford gets fairer funding from the government. They must be someone who will never stop until they know for sure that we have done our best to protect services for the most vulnerable within our borough. They must be someone who unashamedly and unreservedly ensures that Telford is the best place it can be to live, work, visit and do business. They must be someone who has a track record of striding across the political divide to get things done on the things that matter most to those who put us here. In my opinion, he is the best person to deliver these necessities. He brings a youthful exuberance to his work as councillor and has also done this to his role as a cabinet member. He enthuses people and he gets them bought into his vision and direction of travel. He also listens and values the advice and contributions of others and is never afraid to seek the counsel of colleagues and is always keen to learn from those in our number who are of a more experienced disposition. Under all of that, there is also a toughness that we will need as Telford, a toughness that will be needed to stand up against a government who continue to cut millions and millions of pounds from us with no end in sight. There's a toughness inside him to take whatever is thrown at him and still try to come out with some positives. He is brave enough to keep trying to bring our 2 MPs together so that they can actually start delivering for Telford and Wrekin. He also has the wisdom to have no truck with petty bandwagon jumping or scaremongering or pettiness that is so often and so sadly the hallmark of much of the debate put forward from the front bench of the opposition in this chamber. Finally, he has a passion to deliver for Telford, a passion to deliver for this great town of ours. He is someone who has lived, loved, learned and earned in this great town and will use his inherent passion to make sure that not a day is wasted by this council as we strive to meet our challenges. Mr. Speaker, it is these things together that give me absolutely no hesitation. In fact, they give me great pleasure to propose Councillor Sean Davis as the next leader of Telford and Wrekin Council.
Seconder for that.
Mr. Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to second this nomination of Sean Davis to be leader of the Telford Borough Council. Sean has been on the council some time now. He's serving the cabinet. He's got great experience working in the community in one way or another. He's passionate about Telford and about fairness, and I'm not going to go over what Leah said, but I can confirm all that Leah said. And I think Sean is well able to lead this council. And above all, he's a young man. And so I would endorse Sean as the leader of the council. Sean.
Thank you, Leon. Are there any other nominations? No other nominations? Then can we agree or take the vote for Sean Davis? All those in favour of Sean Davis, please show. Those against? Abstentions? Thank you. Congratulations, Sean. We now come to the appointment of the deputy leader. Yes, sorry about that. Sean, you've got to sign the declaration. I was rushing on too much. I was thinking of the food. I don't want to get too warm. Stay there, Richard. We now come to the appointment of the deputy leader. Under the council constitution and the strong leader method, the leader picks his own deputy, and I understand, given on good authority, that Richard Overton is the deputy leader. Richard, can you go and sign the declaration, please? Thank you. We now move into the other part of the meeting, which is ordinary business, so to speak, in many ways, appointment committees and so on. Are there any apologies for absence?
Apologies from Karen Blundell, Andrew Reid, Jane Greenway and Karen Tomlinson.
Okay. Any other apologies? No? Right. Declarations of interest in relation to what's on the agenda.
Mr. Speaker, I've received none.
Any declarations? No. Thank you. The minutes of the council held on the 3rd of March are their true and correct record. Agreed? Thank you. We now come to the announcements then, and I invite the leader to address the meeting. And don't forget your supper's waiting.
Mr. Speaker, my first task as leader is to pay tribute to my colleague, my friend, and my fellow ward councillor, Kuldip Sahota. I am greatly honoured to succeed him as leader in the most turbulent and challenging of times this council has ever known. Kuldip's 5 years leading this council, he's seen it and our borough transformed. Despite such a difficult backdrop, you leave a long and lasting legacy, securing MOD Donington, tackling youth unemployment, the remarkable coup for this borough in attracting inward investment deals such as Southwater. To quote your memorable phrase, I could go on. We are hugely grateful for what you've achieved. Kuldip, we thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'm immensely proud to stand here as leader of this council. But more than anything, I am proud of this borough. Dynamic, inspirational, creative, diverse, industrial, rural, historical, cultural. That's our borough of Telford and Wrekin, my home, your home. And we are not only proud of those from Telford and Wrekin, we are, have been and always will be a welcoming borough, with many families moving to Telford and Wrekin from right across the country and further afield. Telford and Wrekin is my home, it's our home. I was brought up in a council house. I went to local schools and colleges. Aged 20, working for Telford and Wrekin Council as a seasonal park attendant at the best park in the country, Telford Town Park. Then I could never have dreamt I would be elected to represent the area I was brought up in, let alone go on to be a leader of the council that works so hard to create a borough of such can-do creativity in spite of the challenges it faces. A borough of which its residents from whatever background can be proud. We are a council that refuses to sit back and accept the cannot. No, we wake every day, and we embrace the can-do. We strive to set the national example to many other councils. We are among the first to start building our own housing through New Place, the first time for a generation. We are the first council in the land to secure a HCA land deal, unlocking the assets that for so long have been out of reach. We are among the first to build our solar farm, despite the opposition from the Sun Don't Shine Enough brigade. It does, and it's earning us money for vital services. We are recognised for our dynamic approach to neighbourhood services. We are praised both within and outside of the borough for our business-winning, business-supporting approach. We are lauded for our entrepreneurial determination to land the MOD Donington deal, a deal worth millions to the local economy, securing jobs for a generation and real prospects for local regeneration. This week, yesterday, this council and its partners have secured a deal to deliver 295 direct jobs, well paid, highly skilled, 200 jobs in the supply chain, with the capacity to increase by 50% in the future, a £700,000 capital receipt, £500,000 a year in business rates using our enterprise Telford approach. To Roden, I am proud of Dale, from Wellington to Woodside, Sutton Hill to Sandbrook. It's time to stop the divisiveness, pitting town against town in our borough. It's time to start using our differences as strengths, the rural and the urban, the industrial and the agricultural, the new and the old. At the heart of everything we will do, there will be two basic values: fairness and compassion. Because there are some very tough decisions ahead. The grant from government will continue to fall, disappearing by 2020. The cost of looking after our elderly and vulnerable, possibly the most important role for this council, will continue to rise. The challenges in our health and education systems and our police who work so hard to keep our streets safe. Our communities still the cuts and the cost of living crisis. We'll need to maximise new ways to generate income to help meet these challenges. And we talk a lot about government cuts. It's important that every borough resident is communicating and understands what is really going on when we talk about government cuts. And this isn't a political point. When we say that the government has cut our grant, and it's happening all over the country to a greater or lesser extent, we mean that the government, the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, the Conservative government have taken a very clear decision to no longer spend your hard-earned income tax that you hand over to them from your hard work. That money will no longer be spent on your local priorities. They have decided that the income tax money that you give to them, which used to fund local services like roads, like libraries, like community centres, and even adult social care, should now be spent on something else. That is the reality of the Chancellor's budget. We all experience the reality of this government's massive cuts to funding local services every single day. We need to ensure we have funding to maintain our borough as a safe, clean and green community to live in, to work in and visit. And as leader, I have three priorities for the next 12 months. And I ask all members to join me in and supporting me in making these priorities happen. Being critical for no other reason than cheap political point scoring, throwing around mistruths just to make your opponent look a little bit worse than you, this has to stop. It's out of date, backward looking, but most importantly, it does nothing to help the borough move forward and be talked about for all the right reasons. It's time for those who deploy such tactics to rise above the political fray and work together for the good of the people we represent. The Council, the Cabinet, the officers, in fact, anybody who claims to be as part of Telford and Wrekin Council must work together to help deliver these 3 priorities for the benefit of our community. First, we've long held the view that Shropshire needs 2 well-resourced, well-staffed, well-supported A&Es. However, health bosses have insisted there can be 1. And before I state why, let me be clear, again, this is not a political point. Whilst others look to use every excuse in the book to take away our hospital, we simply refer ourselves to the history books. The arguments we use today are no different from the arguments used by those at the time, many in this chamber, against the closure of Cosford. The arguments we use today are no different than the arguments that used by those who lobbied, who argued, who marched and secured the hospital for Telford. And the justification used back then is no less powerful than now. In fact, the needs of our borough have increased. The growth of our population has increased by the growth of our population and by the growth of our population's health needs. It is vital. If there is to be 1, then this 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, well-resourced, well-staffed, modern A&E is at the Princess Royal Hospital. We are the cheapest site to deliver. We are the fastest site to deliver. We are clinically the safest site to deliver with the retention of the Women's and Children's Unit. And let me be very clear, if health bosses try and close down or degrade the £28 million Women and Children's Unit opened just 20 months ago, then this council will use every possible avenue to resist, to fight and prevent that unit being moved from this borough. My message to them is don't seek the fight, seek the solution for Shropshire. And Mr. Speaker, we will never apologise for always defending the best interests of our town, nor will we roll over in the face of criticism from those whose sole ambition is to take away the hospital and merge our councils into a throwback Shropshire authority. Taking health and democratic control away from Telford and Wrekin and handing it back to Shire Hall, that's a red line for me, it's a red line for this council, Mr. Speaker. My second priority. On the government's own figures, we are losing the equivalent of almost £12 million in funding each and every year. Why? Because Telford and Wrekin Council is punished for doing the things and making the decisions that the government have asked and encouraged us to do. Making the case for fair funding deal for Telford and Wrekin, I again look across this chamber for support in this. I want to work with both MPs to join me and to join us in making the case to government. Which is owed to us, we could stop many further reductions in the adult social care budget, the looked after children budget. We could use that money to invest in our roads, in our footpaths, in our neighbourhoods, in our high streets, our district centres, and ensuring that we remain a business-winning, business-supporting council. We must work together to make the case. We don't ask for special treatment, we just want fair treatment, Mr. Speaker. Third, we have an excellent track record in gaining external funding. Since 2011, we've secured £20 million from the Local Enterprise Partnership, £2.1 million from the Heritage Lottery, £1.5 million from Sports England, £26 million from various national funds, £19 million from the New Homes Bonus, and £7 million more in business rates and council tax since April 2013. We must continue to bid and secure and win more funding, whatever the source, from the Local Enterprise Partnership to Europe, from the West Midlands Combined Authority to Whitehall. We must bring more cash into this borough so we can continue to invest and improve. Mr. Speaker, we should seek to improve every single day. 90% of our primary schools in our borough are rated as good or outstanding. We want more. We should aim to have more and more Telford and Wrekin young people who are doing better in their GCSEs. We should celebrate the fact that more and more of our young people are progressing onto university, into work, into apprenticeships, and look to keep on doing more. We should strive every day to make sure we protect, preserve, promote, and progress our communities so that every child, whether from Sutton Hill, Newport, Dawley, Lawley, Wellington, or Oaken Gate, can be the plumber who fixes the leak, the engineer who mends our cars or services or finishes off the next vehicle off the production line in Horton Wood, the hotel worker who looks after the conference visitor, the firefighter who protects our communities, the soldier who fights to protect our country, the teacher whose enthusiasm, skill and knowledge grows the next generation here in Telford, and yes, Mr. Speaker, the solicitor. And I'll leave what we do there. But Mr. Speaker, I'm the junior doctor, I'm the nurse, I'm the consultant the junior doctor, the nurse, and even the consultant who works in our A&E to save or cure those we love. And let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker, any one of our Telford and Wrekin youngsters can be the next Member of Parliament. We must never allow anyone, whoever they are, to talk down our community or write off our young people. We must be united in our voice to the young people of Telford and Wrekin. Dream hard, work hard, study hard, and you will achieve whatever you want to achieve. And we will be with you every step of the way, from where you grow up to the school you go to, from the advisor who helps you with your career choice to maintaining a green and pleasant borough where you can live, work and enjoy your spare time. As leader, I promise my door will always be open. I will always be listening to your ideas. I will never stop seeking to look for new ideas, working together for our residents and for the good of our borough, using talents from right across this chamber, with fairness and compassion at the heart, with a desire to be a can-do, with a sense of unity, pride in our borough. Together we can continue to achieve so much more. Enterprising, entrepreneurial, imaginative, determined. I am Telford and Wrekin and proud. I will work tirelessly for our borough. We will work tirelessly for our borough. We are Telford and Wrekin and proud. So please join me in doing the very best we can for our borough. Mr. Speaker, let that work start today, and let's work together, Mr. Speaker.
Right, under the Constitution, I have to offer the two major parties, opposition parties, the right to reply to that. I know that Andrew Reid is absent tonight. He's not very well. So, right as deputy, if he wants to make a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Davis on his appointment, and I wish him well in his new role. I do hope that we can work together, although, we did start to drift off a little bit. So actions speak louder than words, that's the main thing. And I'm sure that his new role will assist him on the road to Westminster, should he decide to take it.
Thank you, Councillor Tomlinson.
I would also, first of all, like to add my congratulations to Ray Evans on becoming Mayor, and ask God to bless her in all that she does in that, and I hope she'll be a fine role. I would also want to give my thanks and best wishes to Corby Sahota. I feel for the last 5 years he's been a cracking leader of this authority. I've only served on the authority 18 years, which for some isn't very long. But in those 18 years, I have to say he was the best leader I feel that we've ever had. He showed great integrity, great openness, and respect for many people. As well as that, you never know when he's going to shoot off his loose cannon, but he didn't. It was his enthusiasm that really gripped him. So I want to wish him all the best in whatever role he takes up. So all the best, Andrew. I further want to wish the best to our new leader and his cabinet, his little army. No, I'm only joking. I want to wish him all the best in that, because I've spoken to Sean many a time, and I know his passion and his adversarial skills that he's learnt from being a solicitor, but you'll need to couple that with calmness at times and statesmanship. So don't lose your energy, don't use your enthusiasm, but just sometimes take a moment. You'll need a thick skin, and you know what I'm talking about. So all the best in your new role. The things I definitely, as myself as an opposition group leader, would more than happily work with the authority on is the PRH. It's an absolute vital resource for this area, and you would have our full support on that. Also, the full support on fairer trading. Again, I think we've been trying to do that, fairer funding, I should say, for Telford, which we've been trying to get for 18 years. And one day, you never know, the government might suddenly realise we have got more people than they thought we had. And politics aside, never mind just the number of people that they've got wrong before now, when you look at all the other authorities, we are being unfairly funded. And we need that money, we desperately need that money. So I'm backing you very much in that. I'll share most of the priorities that you have. To me, and listening to what Lee Carter said earlier, the vulnerable is the most priority at the top of our list, both the elderly and the young, because it's us that we need to speak out for them, particularly when it's maybe most awkward for us to do so. It's easier for us to be populist and say we're going to cut council tax by 10%, or we're going to do all sorts of these wonderful things for people, which they all want. At the back of our mind, we've got to think, hang on a minute, we need some dosh to sort these people out. I echo your view, we need to let Telford grow and encourage its growth, because those growth will bring jobs to the authority and take people out of unemployment and give greater hope. We have to balance that with the houses that come in. For my other priority, obviously, is the green area. I'm a newbie. I've only been here 27 years now, and I'm new to the area, but it was the green that attracts us here. We have to grow. It's epitomised by what we've done with the town park. It's a fantastic plaudit that we got the best park in the whole of the country, probably in the world. And the Wrekin as well. We need to promote, protect, and it's all those the green space and air to get into. So I'm well behind that as well. With the NHS, you've said to us how innovative with opportunity upon us by the government to try and be innovative a bit with the way we relate to the NHS, particularly with adult social care and children's services, to try and become maybe a model authority that we work the best amongst anyone, if we're given the opportunity. Bed blocking is a terrible problem in the NHS. It's often a problem because we haven't got the funding then to move the people from hospital into care. One day the government may see this and realise for every penny spent in adult social care, it's probably saving a fiver in the NHS if we only do the sums right. So I hope we can be as innovative and work as robustly with that. I won't go on too long, but I've got one final plug. Coming the 23rd of June, we have a little thing called the EU referendum coming up. No, I'm not going to get political. Not that much. But whilst I'm here, and I've got people listening, at least the number of people that are here, I want you to urge everyone that you know, and the press as well, to urge everyone to register. There are so many people in the past that have been disenfranchised by, oh, they're just as crap as each other, they're just as bad as each other, why should I vote for them, why should I vote for them? This is a real big change that potentially could happen. It's a big moment in this country's life. I really, really urge
notify the appointment of his cabinet as per the table schedule in report B. Seconded by the deputy leader. Can we note that? Thank you. The appointment to committees, boards, etc. Can we take these two en bloc? Okay. We all agreed that? Thank you. Item 17, the programme of ordinary meetings of the council. Can we agree and note the there? Can I also tell you that earlier this year, don't forget, we actually agreed a 6 o'clock start for these council meetings. Yes, we did, yeah. No, there's no renegotiation. You can't do it because it's within the 6 months, so you can't do that. So can you note that? And finally, I'm closing the annual general meeting, and thank you all for attending. Can you all retire to the bar area while we prepare the room to sit and listen to the public?